I'm going to talk about drafts. Drafting. One of the worst feelings in the world. Not even the worst. A bad feeling as a writer is reaching that point in a draft where you realize you have to scrap everything and start over. It just sucks. It's just like there's no way around it. You put so much time and energy and effort into writing a draft, and then either you reach the end or the end of a whole new draft, or sometimes you're in the middle, sometimes you're towards the end, and you realize the whole thing's falling apart. It's grown outside of its genes. It can't really sustain itself anymore. You have a new vision for what the story should be. You have a better understanding for what the story should be. So you realize ultimately you have to scrap the draft. And that's just not a good feeling for many reasons. I recently have been working on my novel that's in progress, and this is one that's a draft that I haven't finished yet, and still technically it's on its first draft. And it's a novel I've gotten pretty good feedback on so far when I submit excerpts of it. It's never gotten like concrete recognition, which I wouldn't expect. It's a first draft. Normally I just like to throw my hat in the ring for the hell of it. Like, you've got to chase opportunities, otherwise they'll never come to you. But this project is a bit more ambitious than some of my other ones, or it feels that way sometimes, because it's a kind of book I've been wanting to write for a long time. It leans more speculative than fabulist, and it deals a lot with these rotating perspectives. It's kind of based off of the town I went to for grad school. It's just got a lot of moving pieces in it, and I started it in 2019, and it's about the end of the world. There's a lot else going on. I just don't like explaining my writing. Sundogs is complicated for me because I feel like I approach it the way I would normally approach one of my short stories, which is ultimately a totally different process, and that's why I got into the very mess that I'm in right now. This week, I've been getting back into writing Sundogs after taking, some time off of it, because when the pandemic hit, it just became a really difficult book to write, just because of the subject matter for various reasons. I finally reached a point with this draft where I realized I had to start over, and not necessarily starting from scratch, but I have to start from the beginning and rein in the draft. I finally reached this point where it became this giant knot of string. I feel like I have a lot of really good things to work with and a lot of great material, but it's been extremely difficult to write, and this is like part of the thing I think that's been making it hard for me to write lately. I have decided to start over, and starting over really just looks like stepping back, reassessing the story. Now I have a much clearer idea of where the story is going. I think there are a few good things that we can take out of this bad feeling of knowing, oh no, I have to probably let go of about half of the work I did and salvage what remains to create something new. Sometimes it's hard for me to get over the idea that, I just have to scrap most of this. And that sucks because it was so much time and effort. It's a lot of stuff that I was proud of, which is rare for me. I feel like, especially during a first draft, I'm not often proud of what I'm creating. But with this book, I was like, I'm really feeling this. It feels like writing one of my short stories. And like, as I'm going through this process of starting a new draft and letting go of the old one, I'm going to be mindful of a few different things. And I think that's what this is all about, mindfulness in writing. Number one, I want to be appreciative of the fact that I did all that hard work, and I want to be able to honor it in a way that makes it easy to let it go. And with my first book, I would get so attached to these scenes or lines, and I would try to keep them for as long as I could, until I realized, wow, this is really not only not serving the narrative, it's actually bogging down the book. And I really just needed to learn to cut it out. All that said, I'm also really excited to start the next draft of this book because I have a much clearer idea of where it's going now. I think I really needed to have that chaos and aimlessness that I approached that first draft with in order to figure out where the story was going, what I wanted to say, and what other things are necessary, what kind of subplots and background and setting details are necessary to say what I want to say with this book. So I think having that more mindful focus with this is just going to be really helpful as I continue through the writing process this time. One of my favorite books on writing is called The Writing Life by Annie Dillard. I highly recommend it. In this book, she basically says, no one really cares how hard your draft was to write. No one cares how long it took you. They just care how it made them feel and how good it was, which I think rings really true. And it's something that's easy to lose sight of as you're going through the writing process. I just want to share a couple passages from this book. I feel like it's relevant to this discussion. Process is nothing. Erase your tracks. The path is not the work. I hope your tracks have grown over. I hope birds ate the crumbs. I hope you will toss it all and not look back. Anyway, she also goes on to write, it is the beginning of a work that the writer throws away. A painting covers its tracks. Painters work from the ground up. The latest version of a painting overlays earlier versions and obliterates them. Writers, on the other hand, work from left to right. The discardable chapters are on the left. The latest version of a literary work begins somewhere in the work's middle and hardens towards the end. The earlier versions remain lumpishly on the left. The work's beginning greets the reader with the wrong hand. In those early pages and chapters, anyone may find bold leaps to nowhere, read the brave beginnings of dropped themes, hear a tone since abandoned, discover blind alleys, track red herrings, and laboriously learn a new setting, now false. Several delusions weaken the writer's resolve to throw away work. If he has read his pages too often, those pages will have a necessary quality, the ring of the inevitable, like poetry known by heart. They will perfectly answer to their own familiar rhythms. He will retain them. He may retain those pages if they possess some virtues, such as power in themselves, though they lack the cardinal virtue, which is persistence to and unity with the book's thrust. Sometimes the writer leaves his early chapters in place from gratitude. He cannot contemplate them or read them without feeling again the blessed relief that exalted him when the words first appeared, relief that he was writing anything at all. That beginning served to get him where he was going after all. Surely the reader needs it too, as groundwork, but no. And I think that's important, so important. I love you, Annie Dillard. Mwah! The reader doesn't need that. It's all in service of us. And if we're going to be letting go of ego in writing, isn't that right, Genya? She really likes when I rest it on her because it's warm. So in wintertime, we do this little, that's right. Because it can be really hard, but it's so necessary, and you're really not going to get anywhere unless you learn to abandon and overcome exactly what Annie Dillard is talking about in a writer's life, which is, I think, ultimately that sense of ego. Do you have something to say? I am about to go work on my new draft of Sundogs, which is so great that I'm going to go do that and erase probably more than half what I have done, but that's okay. It's going to be better for it. We're letting go of stuff, and we will always be letting go of stuff, and I'll probably erase more next draft. That's just how it goes.